Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Women in Power. I am your host, Danielle Moon. I am the founder of Women in Power, and today I am joined by the amazing, phenomenal Britt. And I'm going to pass it over to you to introduce yourself to the community.
Oh, that's so sweet. Hi, Danielle. Thank you so much for pushing me to do this, first and foremost.
There was a little bit of a smidge of a push, but hey, we're here.
This is what I'm here for, actually, and I'm sure we'll get to it. But no, genuinely, thank you so much for allowing this opportunity for me to kind of just have like an actual conversation about me and what I'm trying to accomplish with your leadership, right, inside of Women in Power and how we can impact the tech space as women. So a little bit about me, my background. I'm from Houston, Texas originally. I've been lucky enough to travel and live in a couple of different amazing countries, some of them being Brazil and Jordan.
I didn't know that about you. So, see, these are always so fun. Like, even though I've had a couple of conversations, I'm always like, new nuggets of information. Okay, sorry, continue.
The Jordan thing is a little bit different. It was more of actually being on the board from as a kid, right, in high school. There was a brilliant leadership or brilliant lectures organization in Houston that was really cool about bringing world leaders. And anyways, long story short, I ended up as kind of being in the Jubilee School in Amman, Jordan, for a temporary exchange program. But anyways, all this to say, I've been very, very, very lucky to have all these experiences and ultimately bring me back into the tech world, right? My background is predominantly and has always will continue to be, has been, will be.
Got it.
In low code, right? So I've been in low code actually going on 9 years. So my background has been very hyper focused on how the industry as a whole has really changed, right?
Yeah.
So it's been really amazing to see and to grow up with the kind of product solution offering that we have today, right? And that leads us to Power Plat. So ultimately, right, I was able to join the organization by a lot of amazing help with plenty of folks inside Microsoft. But ultimately, one of my mentors that I value, respect immensely, was able to connect me with a couple of folks that had pointed me into the Women in Power LinkedIn page. And actually, the first video, I don't know that you know this, Danielle, the first video that I saw was Yoli's for the mentorship program.
Yeah.
And it was such a fabulous kind of opportunity for me, especially because today in this industry, there are a lot of hiccups, right? The industry is not going through a fun phase right now. So I have been impacted by the layoffs, right, at my previous company. So understanding my background and understanding where I want to be, I did not understand where I was and how I got here.
Yeah.
So it was, I really needed help trying to make sense of what next steps really looked like. And I knew that that was ultimately all in my control, but I was lucky enough to find the organization to get that guidance and ultimately achieve amazing things so far. And it's just the beginning. So thank you.
Oh, yes.
That was a long intro, but I'm here.
Hey, no, I love it. So part of this is it's a fun human experience, right? So, so I get what kind of drew you to the community. And I know that you actually had the opportunity to be at the conference last week. So for those that didn't get to go, we had the Power Platform Community Conference last week, which was next level. I think I just now got a full night's sleep. I was coming back from all of the intensity of meeting people and networking, and we had all the launching of events. And I know that you were pivotal in a lot of that. So, from your standpoint, what would you like to share maybe on like, your experience of being there in person?
Yeah, no, it was incredible. First of all, it was really, really incredible to see so many people in person, right?
Yeah.
Like that's always such a joy. But seeing the clamor to be in and around the Women in Power organization at that conference was electric, right? Like that's kind of the only words that I can kind of use to explain that, because it was such an amazing experience to meet all these amazing leaders who are female and are very amazing people also.
Yes.
Hearing their stories and learning about their human side of what it took, what it takes
Yeah.
to be a female leader, that value will, it's impossible to measure, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
the electricity in there, and all the women really feeling it and connecting it in one place was, wouldn't trade it for anything. So it was amazing.
Yeah, the big takeaway I took from that was working with the the organization that helped and everything was next year we're going to need a room that's like 4 times the size it was because it was standing room only. We had to turn people away, unfortunately.
Right.
And my little Hoover app was blowing up with like, "Let me in." So yes, that's our biggest takeaway is that we did not have a big enough table. We needed to have like 4 times the space to bring in all those amazing women in one place. And the panel was, yes, to your point, such great inside information that was very human, as well as nuggets to take as far as like from an executive or a director level. How are they thinking? I mean, I personally started walking every morning because they all talked about making your body move. And I was like, I don't do that. so,
Good. No,
so
you're right.
after averaging like 7 miles of walking every day at the conference, I was like, well, I guess there's no reason I can't just keep this up. So I will say I took that away as like, okay, Danielle, like stop being a slug. You gotta move your body, not just during the conference week. So but yes, they had amazing, and I think we are going to get them to come in and do a panel just because it was such a phenomenal
Oh,
experience for so many. So
oh, that's fun.
okay, let's see. What would you say you're looking forward to the most out of the community? You know, like I knew that what drew you here, but what's your next like excitement to it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think really ultimately what I'm so excited for is the growth
Yeah,
and the visibility to have so many women in tech realize that they have access to such a wealth of knowledge inside this organization.
yeah,
And I mean, like I mentioned, right? That's ultimately what drew me in. That power, that pull,
yeah,
to be able to have access to that information, right? I'm here trying to, locate my next journey. What's my next role? What's the next move? While also understanding what's the industry look like right now? What are the industry
yeah.
trends? What are, like, all of that stuff matters. So being able to have access to have these conversations, to have this dialogue is really just the highlight of what I'm really looking for, and just the growth, right? The other women coming in and being like, "Holy macaroni."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that this was possible to have that level of candor, um,
hmm
from people that you really look up to. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree. I think one thing that's been just mesmerizing is how many good conversations really are coming in, right? I know with the leadership team of what we have with our board and everything, like I'm telling everybody, like I'm leading with vulnerability. I don't know what I don't know. I had this dream and it was to bring a bunch of people together, but now it's manifested into so much more. I'm not an expert in any of these fields. Can I gab? Absolutely. But beyond that, what's my criteria? Who knows? So I
Right.
think that that's also where I'm hoping a lot of other women notice like there is no long resume that said this is how we got here by any means. This was a human need and an excitement that I thought, why not? Like, let's just go. So thank you for that. What would you say? I know that you've taken on a leadership position. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I would love to. So my role, right, is a regional leader for our Houston chapter. So like I said, I'm located here in Houston, and we're working on a really an awesome amount of opportunities, right, that we have ahead of us for meetups, networking events, skill up sessions, certification knowledge, all of these things that we're really trying to encompass as our values, right, within the organization and put them into action regionally. So I'm really excited. to
You're
be able
basically
to.
building a region in a box. So that
I
way
mean,
anybody else who says, yes, I want to have a regional
we'll
lead in
take
that
it.
area, you can say like, here's region in a box, here's your playbook. And I think that's going to be huge. That way we ourselves stay good to our brand and our mission. But we allow it to grow way faster than what we could ever do with our hands-on, situation. So I think you're doing such an amazing job trying to help us scale, where beforehand, I don't think we really were like, can we do this? Like, yeah, we're going to do this. So I thank you for that, and the
Yeah.
position that you're doing and leading in that area. It's going to be huge, and I'm really thinking it's going to be a successful area for people to not just have a virtual connection with each other, but actually say like, hi, would you like to get coffee? And hey, we're going to have this event with you'd like to connect there. It just kind of gives people a feel for being able to do something in person and not just have everything based on the virtual side. So thank you
Absolutely.
for that.
Of course. No, I appreciate that. What I think that makes so much sense from seeing the value that we experienced at Power Plat Conference,
Yeah.
and then being able to bring that kind of same energy, right? That's ultimately right, that same crossover of excitement. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for the
I'm
opportunity.
still getting notes on the friendship bracelets that we made, and I actually don't have mine on, but I promise I've actually been wearing it. But yeah, I heard so many people say like, oh my God, that was so therapeutic. Like what
Yes.
Route 16 did for us and Ariel over at Route 16 and Brendan, like, having them help sponsor and make that come together was even more of a holy moly moment that we're doing this. So but yes, I'm still getting, like, love my bracelet. And I'm like, we might have to make this a standard thing too, is that we have friendship bracelets
Right.
every time we have an event. Maybe that's another thing we'll have to add to our list.
No
So,
kidding. It was so funny.
um,
The women would just be like, "Oh, we love passively being able to just like make our brains stop for a
I,
second."
yes,
And it was like,
like,
"Oh, at a conference, high energy, that was
I know
perfect."
several were like, this is like therapy. I was like, yes, because it is, especially for a lot of women who, I consider myself an extrovert introvert, right? So
Mm.
like I can go, and then I'm gonna want to battery dead, read a book, right? And not have to deal with humans. And there were so many women who were like, I am not an extrovert. I can't even pretend to be an extrovert, but having something to do with my hands while I have a conversation, like that just reduced anxiety. And I was like, what a small thing, but yeah, it's something to be grateful we had the forethought to do it. And Ariel surprised me and was like, we're making these and I was like, we're making bracelets, let's
I
go.
loved it. No, I loved it. No, it was really cool.
So let me ask you about, would you consider yourself on the functional, on the technical, or something else when you're talking about the Power Platform?
So that's a great question. I ultimately functional, right? My
Yeah,
background has been in sales. I know people say this, but genuinely, I love solving problems.
yeah.
Do I love solving my problems? Not necessarily, but I love solving other people's problems.
What is it? Do as I say, not as I do.
Yes,
It's my motto in parenting. I get
yes,
it.
no, exactly. But really though, it's such a passion of mine to be able to find those kind of gaps in the process, right?
Yeah.
I always say the image that I always picture myself kind of doing is like walking around with a roll of duct tape, right, in my brain, and kind of just like patching up the holes where I see them and
Mm,
making everything work in a cohesive manner. So,
yeah.
anyways, I absolutely, my background is functional. I consider myself fully functional. Really driving the business value is ultimately a highlight of mine.
Now, I usually ask everybody what their superpower is, but I'm going to take a guess that I know one of your superpowers, and that's networking.
Oh,
I have not had more people drop your name in conversations than anybody more recently. So I don't know if that's going to be what you call it as your superpower, but I'm going to say if it's not what you think it is, girl, networking and being able to connect to different people and ask for that introduction. I'm going to say I've never seen more natural skills in getting, coffee chats set up and, virtual meetups and things like that. So I can ask you, but I'm just telling you that's what I think it is.
no, I so appreciate that. Genuinely. I really appreciate that. It's funny because it's hard, right? It's hard.
It's scary.
It's so scary. It's so scary. It's so vulnerable. It's so human.
Yeah.
And I think that that's honestly like the piece, and you and I, right, we love to highlight the human piece, right, in
Yeah.
conversations, just really having that understanding that like not everything is going to be easy,
Yeah.
right? Like life is not easy. Networking is definitely not easy. And so being able to put yourself out there and like having the reception, I'll
Yep.
say that's amazing. I've been very lucky with the people that I've been able to connect with and really exercise that muscle.
Yeah.
Um, but ultimately, I think my superpower is probably just adaptability. Um,
Yeah.
being able to kind of figure it out. I don't
Hmm.
need a lot of direction, but I do need a lot of conversation, right? Ultimately,
Yeah.
I need to figure out at the core what's driving this,
Hmm.
or anything for that matter. So,
Yeah.
um, I think that's probably what I say my superpower is,
That's
right?
probably also why we're drawn to each other. I'm a throw me in the deep end kind of person, and I'll figure out how to swim type of thing. So it's probably also why we get along so well. So now is someone now I'm gonna actually again I'm gonna change the little script on some of the things that we've been doing on why someone would reach out to you. I think given what I know about you, I would say it'd be a lot of fun for us to do a workshop on how you're getting these connections. What are some email templates you're using? How are you asking people on LinkedIn and like all these
Yeah,
other areas? I think, we can post it out to the group and everything, but to me that would be a super fun hour, workshop that we can just kind of put some ideas out there to help other people maybe get motivated as to feel the vulnerability, feel the anxiety, and then just hit send,
yeah,
and get to that next level of it. So maybe that might be something we do next.
I like
So,
it. No, that's
yeah.
that's a great idea, and I have all those templates ready to go.
Oh,
So it
I know
works.
you are organized in that arena. So I'm not thinking I'm setting you up for failure by any means by asking that.
I appreciate that. No, yeah, I
Okay,
think
well,
that's a great idea.
before we close out on this lovely episode, is there anything else you wanted to kind of share with the community before we close out and say goodbye for the day?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, please reach out if you're in the Houston area for sure, as well. And also any sort of partner organization sponsorship opportunities. If you're looking to kind of have that conversation, please feel free to reach out. And also any job opportunities.
There you go.
That's a subtle
Hey,
plug personally.
take the plug. I got it. Okay, well, thank you so much, Britt, for joining me today. It was an amazing delight, as always, to talk with you. And I guess we will get to see you guys maybe next week with another episode. So thank you again for your time, and we look forward to chatting later. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.